Now that the regular season is over, it's time to figure out who is most deserving of the MVP award. And it's the usual suspects who top this list for yet another season. These are the headliners who fill up the stat sheet every single night and wow us with incredible feats of athletic ability and skill while leading their teams to a lot of wins. But I'm still not clear what the award is really for. Is it for the best player in the league? Is it the player who is most valuable to their specific team? Does it reward the most dominant player? I decided to go through the offensive sets of each of the top guys to see what kind of clever offenses their respective coaches were designing to get them shots and assists. And I think we'll all agree it's fascinating to compare each of these guys' method of attack since there are wide differences and close similarities across them all. The first thing that jumped out at me about these guys is that despite being in the modern three-point era, none of them rely on the three-point shot at all. Let's start with a two-time reigning MVP who many think won't win it simply because he's won it twice in a row already. And as far as stats go, he's cut down on shooting the basketball quite a bit. But the trade-off is that he's shooting a ridiculous percentage from the field for someone scoring this many points a game. In fact, we saw this happen only one other time in the history of the NBA, and that was 56 years ago. Here's a set they like to run, which starts out putting pressure on the defense with their top two players. Jokic sets a zipper pin down for Jamal Murray, while Michael Porter Jr. and Jeff Green set up for a double cross screen to get Jokic a catch somewhere near the right block. You can see how this blockade can open up easy shots for him from the mid-range. Here is the same action, but when the Rockets pressure Murray and delay the pass to him, the Nuggets flow into the next progression. Pinch post action that forces Jokic's man to help on penetration, where we get Jokic's patented runner. In fact, he leads the league in most efficient shooter of this shot, which is extremely unique for a center. If they don't get a deep post touch for him on that double screen across the lane, he can spot up in the corner and take advantage of his dribbling and post-up skill to shoot fadeaways from the dotted line. Turning over his right shoulder gets an easy alignment to the basket and the swish. While this isn't the same alignment, it starts with the same pin down from Murray, but then flows into a double ball screen. And Jokic makes his living between the elbows as Robinson can't recover in time. They add a little flex action with the Murray slice screen for Gordon in order to distract Grimes before sprinting off the pin down by Jokic. While Jokic doesn't get behind the line that often, he's hitting at an above average clip. One other set that caught my eye was this horn set with Jokic coming out of the weak side corner. With a guard at the opposite elbow, they use him to screen and curl Jokic into the lane for his running hook shot when Lopez can't stop him from getting inside the dotted line. Here it is again, and if his defender fights through that initial screen, Jokic simply goes to work utilizing his left elbow to leverage around his man for the finish. This is tough to defend when Murray is screening for him, since Murray's man does not want to leave for help. And the pass comes from the elbow, an easy read and angle for Porter to connect on, and the flush for Jokic. Of course, what separates Jokic from every other MVP candidate is his passing. He's got eyes in the back of his frickin' head and gives us at least one good no-look dime each night. The bulk of his assists come from elbow touches, as he leads the league with almost 10 a game. Here's a simple high post split where the passer enters the ball to Jokic at the elbow, then goes away to screen. The first cut is well guarded, but the second one is not. They adjust this by back screening for Murray. This makes Lopez have to stay in the lane for a beat, opening the easy pass to Jokic. Now, Murray sets the back screen for Barton, and Jokic puts it where only he can catch it and finish easily. And if they defend the back cut well, it's because Murray's man had to wait in the lane for a step, opening up the handoff into a three-point assist. Something pretty rare for Jokic since he's so busy throwing nice assists to cutters for shots in the lane. And if you want the chance to win some money on his production or any other NBA player, then you have to head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and check out Pick'em, where you can choose 2 to 5 players, then decide on the over-under for specific stats. It's super easy to set up, and you can win up to 20 times your initial entry fee. If you think Embiid is going to go off against the Nets in the first round, then get in the action. But it doesn't stop there. You can make it a rival and add players from different teams to make it even more interesting. They've also got drafts where you can compete against me. You think you got what it takes? If you click on the link below and use my promo code BBALL, you'll get a deposit match of up to $100. So if you want a chance to get up to 20 times your money or beat me in a draft, you've got to check out Underdog Fantasy. Use my code BBALL, get up to $100 in matching deposits, and you'll have a better chance at winning money and understanding why Embiid is most likely going to win the MVP award, probably due to a little bit of Jokic voter fatigue. His numbers are very robust, but aren't quite as good as Giannis's. And perhaps there's still some residual Giannis fatigue from him winning it twice in a row. What was startling about the way Embiid scores is that he does almost all of it between the elbows. While Jokic sets his teammates up from this area, Embiid just goes to work on either elbow and uses his overwhelming physical advantage combined with impressive ball handling and finishing skills to simply put the ball in the hole. The stagnant offense might be frustrating to coaches who want the beautiful game, and their 28th ranking in distance covered on offense bears this out. Parenthetically, it's the Nuggets who are last in this category despite all the great movement and cutting, and both of these teams' presence in the top 5 in overall offense makes a good argument that tons of players and ball movement aren't necessary to create an elite attack. And it makes sense to do this since he's only one dribble away from the hoop, and considering Philly leads the league in three-point percentage, you'll see defenders a little wary of helping off their men to try and stop him. Not that that would even matter most of the time anyway. Of course, setting a ball screen for James Harden is a great way to get anyone open, and when Harden's gravity sucks the defense to him, he's got plenty of time to find Embiid in open space and then let him take advantage of that extra space. This will no doubt be a focus of their offense in the playoffs, and I can't think of a more lethal pick-and-roll duo than these two. Embiid doesn't get a lot of assists, but it's more of a function of their offense with Harden controlling so much of the ball handling duties. From that elbow area, when the help does come, it opens up easy passes that Embiid can make. Nothing fancy needed, just the recognition of where the simple pass is, and he generates more three-pointers than all but 6 other players in the NBA because of how dominant he is with the ball. Once the help comes, it's a quick flip to the open shooter, and this is the main driver of their league-leading three-point percentage. Let's move to Milwaukee, where Giannis Antetokounmpo has put in another stellar year, and he gets way more ball screens than the other two. They don't have to have anything fancy, and to combat the struggles he has from the three-point line, they'll set the ball screen for him at the elbow, which just makes this unfair, as he can get a full head of steam going to the basket and no one physically strong enough or long enough to do anything about it. They also use him as a dribble pitcher out of their 5-out spread offense, and you can see how this can cause problems when the dribbler turns the corner into the middle. It also is a great way for him to roll and command good low post position on the block, where he can get points on a variety of clever moves at a higher volume than either Jokic or Embiid. They don't need to do a whole lot to get him a low post touch, and then spread the floor and let him go to work. A quick pin down forces his man to step back and allow the defender through the gate, but that just lets Giannis make a catch almost standing right on that left block, where he can get into his over the right shoulder fadeaway game, something that no defender can do anything to affect. If you don't send a double team, he's going to score almost every time. And they also use him as the ball screener in the pick and roll. Drew Holiday is very capable and a real threat off the bounce, which opens up space in the lane for Giannis to demolish you. Watch how they use Spain pick and roll with Allen back screening Giannis's man. This invites him to jump back to the restricted area, giving Giannis an opening to attack on the catch from one dribble away, and oh yeah, it doesn't matter if help comes to him either. And the pin downs into curls put the kind of pressure on the defense that will keep coaches up at night, since it's unclear how you'd properly contain Holiday on the cut and also keep a body on Giannis for the lob. Much like Embiid, Giannis also earns the bulk of his assists by making the simple pass when his own gravity bends the defense completely out of shape. He assists on the 5th most three-pointers in the league when defenders help from one pass away, and Giannis need only make the open pass across a short distance and his teammates can do the rest. Only 4 other players in the NBA have a higher percentage of their total assists as three-point shots. But the challenge is that the Bucks offense is an average 15th rank in offensive rating, and that has to be concerning to Bucks fans who have title aspirations this year. Of course, this was tweeted out yesterday, and it looks like Embiid is going to win it all. And if it's because he's been so good all these years and deserves something, well, that's fine with me. But I've got another hat to throw in the ring. There is another player out there that has done more than any of these guys to change the culture of this team, and more importantly, the number of wins. When Jalen Brunson was signed away from the Mavericks last summer, it felt like the Knicks got a bit of a consolation prize, and no one was sure how it was going to work. A quick glance at some advanced stats, and we see that the frequency of baskets made on cuts went up, but the efficiency on these types of shots skyrocketed, with Brunson assisting on 20% of all their cuts despite only playing in 68 games this year. You can see an improvement in 2-point percentage from last year in both Randle and Barrett, fueled by the gravity that Brunson commands with his aggressiveness to get into the lane. He doesn't have the X-ray vision that Jokic does, who also has the advantage of being 7 feet tall, but he consistently displays good awareness of the cutters around the court and can find ways to get them the ball for easy finishes. His floater game is elite, one reason why there's only 6 players more efficient than he is in the pick and roll. It's very difficult to stop these shots as he gets them off quick and high over the outstretched hands of the bigs trying to knock them out of the air. These are some of the most difficult and high-skilled shots there are in the game of basketball, and there are only 5 players who shoot better on these types of shots in the entire NBA. Ironically, it's Jokic who leads the league in floater efficiency, more reason to put respect on his game as well. Here's some cool action I found in the Knicks offense as Brunson sets a shuffle screen for Barrett before pivoting off a pin down while Grimes gets a slice screen to left block. All this action allows Brunson to find the opening for the layup. Here it is again, and this time they flow all the way through to the pin down for Barrett, but when it starts to wither on the vine and die, Brunson is there to get the handoff, flip it back into a ball screen where he puts his defender in jail before pulling up for the midi. They run some Spain pick and roll, who doesn't, with Randle back-screening Hartenstein's man, clearing the runway for the beautiful off-foot one-handed finger roll. Many teams want to defend Spain by dropping their big way below the back screen, but it simply allows Brunson to attack all the way past the dotted line for another easy floater. I like this set out of the triangle offense, where Brunson follows his pass around, then cuts baseline across the court while Randle gets the inside ball screen. It works so well, Brunson can just stand in the corner until Randle is ready to pass it to him for the open 3. And Brunson shot a career high from behind the arc with plays run for him like this. As they deny him out top, he tells Obi to hit Robinson flashing to the middle. This is also triangle offense action as Brunson cuts behind for the handoff, waits for the defense to get completely confused, and then rises up for the wide open 3. What's most incredible about Brunson's game is that he might have the best footwork in the post of any of these MVP candidates. His patient pivoting inside the paint shows a maturity to his game combined with his shot making under pressure amongst the trees, and it never ceases to amaze me. What other 6-foot guard have we seen that routinely does this and makes defenders a foot taller than him look so foolish? Sure, there are plenty of examples of the big guys executing good footwork, but we can't pretend that it's the same thing when a 6-foot guard does it. And what are MVPs for if not to take the pressure off of teammates when the shot clock is winding down? A comparison of these 4 shows that Brunson is second only to Jokic in efficiency when the toughest shots have to be taken for their respective teams. Last year, the Knicks ranked 23rd in this category, and with Brunson being the man for them, they've shot up to 6th, and it should be no surprise then that Brunson's clutch numbers are comparable to the other 3 as well. He's got the second highest offensive rating during crunch time, as well as the highest effective field goal percentage, which is truly remarkable considering he's maybe 6 feet tall while the others enjoy severe height and length advantages. Plus, pound for pound, no one is tougher than Brunson is. And that's going to be needed in the playoffs, where the rest of the Knicks don't have a lot of postseason experience. Perhaps we need a clear definition of what an MVP is. To me, it's the guy the head coach turns to on the last possession, hands him the ball and says, "Go win us this game." And there are very few players out there I'd pick to fulfill that role other than Jalen Brunson.